Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple of days off, guys. I do apologize. I have been feeling quite sick recently, but we are now back, feeling good, feeling alive, and what a time it is to come back to Manchester United and cover us on YouTube. So let's get things started. Erik Ten Hag has given a big "I told you so" to UK media outlets. So basically, the upshot of this in yesterday's press conference quote sort of came out today, and it's something that I have been agreeing for a while with Erik Ten Hag, and that is we have struggled because of the players we've been missing. And when you take the drop from having Lisandro Martinez at centre back to Johnny Evans, when you take the drop from having Luke Shaw at left back to having Dalot playing out of position on that side, when you drop from having, say, Garnacho on the right hand side to having Anthony on the right hand side, and you drop from having Højlund to having Anthony Martial through the middle, I think you're always going to find a drop off in quality. Now, look, this does bang home issues with Ten Hag squad building. It does issue squad management, and it does issue that this team is still paper thin. There is only one left-footed centre back, and he is now injured for the foreseeable future, and we will get to that very, very soon. But I do want to talk about Ten Hag because he basically has been telling us this all along. We've never really been given any kind of understanding within the media. We've never really had any understanding within the fan base due to these injuries, due to the problems we have had as a team in terms of keeping players fit, keeping them available, and getting them on form. And it can't be a surprise that some of our best performances of the season, like against Wolves the other night, against West Ham yesterday, have come when we've had our best players available. I think that's just common sense, but I do think it also shows an over-reliance on a lot of these players that other clubs, they just don't have. Man City missed Kevin De Bruyne for large parts of the season, nearly all of the season up until this point, and they were still in and around the top four. They've had Erling Haaland out for a while, and they've still been scoring lots of goals. Now, look, City, of course, are a lot further on than us, but Arsenal as well have missed key players at times. Liverpool have been without Mohamed Salah and are still top of the league. So, yes, Erik Ten Hag is right to say that he told us all along we will be better when our best players are back. But I don't think we should be so reliant on them. That's what I want to leave that statement at. I got Jarl in the comments. We won 3-0 yesterday. An interesting story from Holland. And they're saying Ten Hag is now the caretaker of United, that he has done as United manager. When the summer comes, did his demands ensure he will be removed? I think there's definitely going to be large elements of that, and I've been saying this for a long time. I'm not someone who claims to be in the know. I'm not someone who puts out their own kind of news, and I just look at the stories. I look at the crowd, and I look at what everybody's kind of feeling from people who I would trust within the media, and a lot of them seem to be coming up with the same kind of rhetoric that Erik Ten Hag is basically got until now, to the end of the season, to convince INEOS that he is the man to take this club forward in the right structure. He has basically an addition. He is having an addition right now for it. He really is. Ronnie saying, any news on how long he will be out for? Yes, I will get to that right now actually as well. So Lisandro Martinez news is coming out in the last couple of hours, really, that he's going to be out for around about a month and a half to 2 months. Now, look, it's not ideal. It really isn't, because we've just got Martinez back and we've been playing a lot better and looking a lot better with him in the team as expected. But it's not a disaster. I think we all kind of feared the worst. We were fearing another surgery. We were fearing another 6 months out. He will be back by the time of the next international break in March, so he should be back before the end of March. So I would say, yeah, that would pretty much line up with that 6 to 8 week kind of territory that we're going to be looking at for Lisandro Martinez. Look, it's bad news. It's not what we wanted. It's not the position we wanted to be in. We've only had Martinez back really for the last 3 weeks or so, but he'll be back. He's missing about 5 or 6 matches, I think. Jarl is saying Martinez will miss 5 to 8 matches. He got very lucky that the West Ham player braced himself when he fell onto his leg. Yeah, look, it's unfortunate. It's one of those. It's not Lisandro Martinez suddenly being injury prone. It was a complete accident. Anybody who's seen that could have told you the same. It's kind of like what happened to Kobe Mainu in preseason. It was kind of just a player falling on the wrong part of his leg, and it caused an issue there. I think he should be out for about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks at a push. But no surgery required. That's good. No SCL damage. That's good. And hopefully it's going to be okay. And hopefully between Harry Maguire and Varane, they can stay fit for those matches. I think we'll have a much bigger issue if we have to resort to playing Victor Lindelof once again, or if we have to start picking Johnny Evans to start. So I would say Varane and Maguire would probably be the centre backs moving forward for the next couple of weeks. It's not ideal, but it's better than the alternative. Obviously, a lot of that depends on Varane's ability to stay fit. I think Maguire probably will stay fit now that he's fully back and he's back into the team with a pretty good performance yesterday as well. Did have one or two nervy moments, but ultimately West Ham are really clinical enough to make us pay on that one. Hey guys, there's a poll in the comments as well if you guys want to get voting on it. It's basically want to have your guys' opinions on what Ten Hag has been saying, because he thinks we can go on a little bit of a run now. We can go on a run of matches, pick up some results now that we have the best players back. I think it all depends on how he manages them as well. And look, I would say roughly speaking, he shouldn't have enough matches where we're going to find major burnout, but it could happen. It is something to be wary of. Gio Arthur is on there. Mane, Hoyland, and Garnacho are a breath of fresh air. Big shout out for Dallo, who is playing top notch lately as well. I would agree with that. I think, look, we all seen that brilliant photo of Hoyland, Manu, Garnacho all sitting on the sidelines on the advertising hoarding. Yeah, look, those three guys, I have such high hopes for them moving forward. I think we have three fantastic young players there, and they're not just talented young players, because lots of clubs have talented young players. They've got the right attitude, the right mentality, the right belief about them. Very exciting to see what they're going to do. I'm looking forward to seeing them play again, and they make you enjoy watching this team, and I think that's a big positive. And I know it hasn't been easy throughout the season. I know Manu's been injured for a decent chunk. I know Garnacho has been shifted around from left to right from times and has been out of the team at times, and I know Hoyland has went on a long run without scoring, but I've never doubted their quality. I always thought they would all come good, and I think Hoyland especially is showing that at the moment, that with his confidence up, there is a really good player in there, and he's literally turned 21 years old yesterday. He is the youngest player to ever score in 4 consecutive Premier League matches for Manchester United, and that's got to be applauded when you look at some of the young players we've had over the years. Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo spring to mind to begin with. And yeah, look, I'm very excited about the next couple of matches. I feel like I'm in a strange position. For once this season, I am looking forward to watching this team play, and I haven't been able to say that enough across the rest of the season. I got Luman in the chat as well. Thanks, Luman, for joining in. And Jarl says, Lindelof makes me very nervous. After he blasted the ball into our opponents, I get very nervous every time he has the ball. My problem with Lindelof is that he looks scared. I don't know if anybody else gets that. I just feel like he just looks scared sometimes of a physical striker. I remember Ivan Toney's bullied him. He's been bullied by Solanke before. Mikel Antonio was giving the guy a run around. His lack of physicality does worry me at times. And he doesn't really want to seem to get stuck in as well, which isn't good for centre back. We all like to see a centre back get stuck in, not right, guys? I've got. Let me check that poll. I think we got like 10 likes as well. Thanks very much for the likes, guys. Much appreciated. Yeah, so look, on this poll, Ten Hag was saying that we could go on a run of wins and pick up results. Let me know your thoughts on that one if you guys haven't voted already. I've got 15 votes on that now. I've got 27% think we can go on a run. 27 says depends on injuries, and almost 40% of people says we cannot go on a run of wins. Look, I was very nervous going into these run of matches. I thought Wolves away, I thought West Ham at home. Those were potential slip-ups. I think we very nearly did slip up against Wolves. We tried our very best for that. But I do think as well, when we look at West Ham, that was a fairly controlled game where we took our chances. Now, as Jarl said at the beginning, there was times we got lucky. I think in the first half, there was very good individual performances, but as a team, I don't think we played well enough in the first half. I think second half we controlled nicely. But it does show you the value of getting that third goal. How much we could have used that third goal against Wolves during the week couldn't be stated enough. It really couldn't, because a third goal at any point, getting a 3-goal league would have killed that. Absolutely killed that match stone dead. But it's not where we find ourselves. We have an interesting story coming out in the last couple of moments here. Let me bring you guys this one. This might be some breaking news regarding Manchester United, and it's Christian Eriksen might leave Manchester United this week. Christian Eriksen could be on his way out of Manchester United. According to reports in Turkey, Manchester United midfielder Christian Eriksen may be about to set to leave the club this week. The report, which is from Turkish outlet Photomax, says that Eriksen is the target of Turkish Super League giants Galatasaray. In the report, it is stated that talks between the Ten Hag signing and clubs are going well, and have taken place under great confidentiality. According to the report, if the move is successful, Galatasaray are prepared to sign the Danish midfielder on loan with the option to buy permanently at the end of the season. This is possible because the Turkish transfer window does not close until the 9th of February. Should Galatasaray be unable to secure Eriksen's signature before the window closes, a promise will be made for Christian Eriksen for them to sign in the summer, should a deal not be possible. United will have to look for an internal replacement for Eriksen should he leave the club, with the club failing to make any signings during last month's January transfer window. So there we go, guys. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Christian Eriksen, would you guys move Eriksen on at this point of the season, or do you think we need to keep as much depth as possible? That story obviously is coming from Turkish outlets, but it has been shared by the fairly reliable United report on Twitter there. So that's an interesting one for sure, and I guess we'll keep an eye out on that one as things develop. I'm not too sure. Whenever we hear things being talked about under great confidentiality, it kind of makes me think like they're saying that because nobody else has said it, but I would be surprised. Jarl says we cannot lose Eriksen. He is a fountain of knowledge to the young players. Liman says, Stefan, when you had no expectations against Wolves and West Ham and you won, now that you're confident of winning against Villa, you will lose. I'm not confident of winning against Villa. Don't worry, Liman. I'm not confident. Maybe Ten Hag can be, but I'm not. Gani is down there as well. Good to see you, Gani. Liman says, let him go and play his remaining football. Yeah, look, I think it's an interesting one. I think Eriksen is a player we might look to move on in the summer window. I do think that's possible because it's a lot of money to have for a player who'd be on the bench. I think he's on £150,000 per week, which is a lot of money, but I can't see Eriksen going this week, especially with us not getting a replacement. I would be really surprised if that happens. And would we let him go on loan with a promise for Galatasaray to buy him? It does seem very improbable, and I haven't really seen any real indication from the Fabrizio Romano's or David Ornstein's or any of the real journalists who we would say whenever they speak we listen. But look, I think it's one to keep an eye out on. I think something could happen there with Christian Eriksen because we've got a lot of midfield players at the moment. We've got Bruno and Manu and Casemiro, McTominay, Mason Mount is coming back as well. We still have Hannibal on the books, even though he's at Sevilla. There is issues between him and Sevilla seemingly as well. So I'm not too sure what the future holds for Christian Eriksen. I would be surprised if we let him go in this window because Ten Hag has been very much about looking to keep some of the players, even whenever it looks like we could let them go. So I would be really surprised at that. Jarl says, how much will they pay? The report doesn't really state that at all, how much they will pay. I'll put the link into the chat if anybody wants to have a read at the article anyway. Let me see that. That should work. I'm not too sure if it'll be clickable. You might have to copy and paste it, but I'll put it in there for anyone who wants have a look at it. No real reports on how much they want to bet, but it's an interesting one. I think Eriksen's a player who might leave at some point, but I would be really surprised if it's now. Like, I really, really would. I'm sure you guys feel the same about that there. I couldn't see a situation where Christian Eriksen leaves us. Jarl says transfer market does not show that any clubs are interested in Eriksen. Um, yeah, again, it's just one I would keep an eye out on. If I mean, if it happens, I'm not going to be overly shocked, I guess, but I would be surprised if it happened. I would be surprised if it happened within this window. If it happened in summer, maybe, but I don't see anything about Christian Eriksen. We do have some bad news if you're Donny van de Beek as well. He has been left out of the Eintracht Frankfurt Europa Conference League squad. That loan is obviously going as well as we would expect it as it would. He's just looking like a player. It's going to be very, very, very hard for us to sell into this summer window. Look, guys, we're going on real quickly. Want to get talking some technical stuff here because it does look like this INEOS deal is about to be ratified, and we could see movement on sporting directors within the next week or so. That's pretty exciting news. So basically, the upshot of all this is, let me quickly put up that report I was reading just before I went on here. Really good account on X, well, formerly Twitter. The Swedish Ramble does break all this financial kind of stuff down, but he did an interesting report on that one. Jarl says, looking like we sold Hansen for 1.5. That's his new value of transfer market. I'm not too sure what we sold him for. I know that I know obviously he is gone. I know obviously it's disappointing because I had a lot of hope for him at one point. Isaac Hansen, and I still do. I think he'll do really well there. Let me see. I need to try to find that report. Give me a second there, guys. I'll just ad lib as we go along here. Anyway, look, this poll is kind of interesting as well because most of you guys are in disagreement with what is being said by Erik Ten Hag. You don't think we can go on a run with that there. And look, that's fair enough. I get that. Like, I do. I don't know. I think I feel more confident with this team at the moment, but I don't really feel like we're guaranteed results in the next couple of matches. We play Aston Villa away, which is really, really difficult. And then what we have to do afterwards is go and play Luton Town away at Kenilworth Road. And they give us a really, really tough game at Old Trafford. They might beat us at they might beat us at home. Anything is possible in that regard. They're a good team. We have the official update on Lisandro Martinez as well. Martinez has sustained an injury to his medial collateral ligament in his knee and is expected to be out for around 8 weeks, according to Manchester United. So that is official now. Lisandro Martinez is going to miss out the next 8 weeks of action. Very disappointing, of course. Not what we wanted to see, but I think it could have been worse. And look, I don't think he's suddenly become an injury-prone player, which is good. I don't think he's suddenly become a player who's going to be a massive issue and a liability in that sense. I think it might be all right, but it's not ideal. It's really not what we wanted to see. Ghana Usander, Eriksen is a much better bowler than Bruno and McTominay. He should be getting games as those two, but we have a manager who is stubborn on his belief and a very poor squad rotation. Our squad rotation is very poor, absolutely, Ghana, and that's a concern that I have about what we're doing here and Ten Hag statements, because it's very possible that we end up that we end up losing more players to injuries. Rajad is down there. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in, Rajad. Yeah, here we go. Thankfully, because Stefan Trends shared that today. So there was 2 votes in the board meeting today, both of which seem to have passed, which was the sale of 25% of Class B shares, and which allows the sale of Class B shares without conversion to trawlers. Another meeting is penciled in for the 7th of February for Class A shareholders to include a sale of 25% of their shares for $33 per share. This all came from the EGM meeting with shareholders today. So Radcliffe's been voted in by the club. It's done in that sense. Now we're just waiting for Premier League ratification. Then we get on to the exciting stuff: directors of football, recruitment, overhauling the strategies, overhauling the policies, and then we start looking at Erik Ten Hag, because look, Ten Hag is very much still on a job interview at this point. I think it was Jarl put it into the comments earlier. We were kind of saying Ten Hag's a man who looks like he's living on borrowed time from time to time this season. He's a man who has divided opinion from time to time this season, and there's many times where we could say Erik Ten Hag could get sacked. There's many times where we thought Erik Ten Hag maybe should get sacked, but he's managing to hold on. He's still here, and I guess he's going to have the next couple of weeks to prove himself. I would say he's the interim manager until the end of the season, and at that point we might decide to keep him. We might decide to let him go. It's not going to be Jim Radcliffe's decision. It's not going to be Ten Hag's decision. It's going to be whoever is brought in as CEO, which is Omar Barada. It's going to be whoever's brought in as director of football, potentially Dan Ashworth. Going to be brought in with Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. Those are the guys going to be making those calls. Now, interestingly enough, the next couple of matches, they're kind of difficult for Manchester United, and Erik Ten Hag's going to have to do very well to continue this small run of form that we're on at the moment, and he has to improve if we're going to get anything out of these matches. Look, we play Aston Villa away next. That's a really difficult match. That's going to be on Sunday. Then we play Luton Town the week after away. That's going to be another difficult match. We play Fulham at home. That won't be a pushover. We play either Nottingham Forest or Bristol City in the FA Cup. Again, it's another away tie in the Cup. Anything can happen there. Then we play Manchester City 4 days later at the Etihad. That's going to be a very difficult match to get anything out of. We might end up losing that match. I can't say with any confidence we'll win that match. And the reason is we're seeing Liverpool drop points now. We are seeing Arsenal picking up points sometimes, but dropping points other weeks. This does feel like that kind of time where City just turn up, win every match between February and May, and win the league title. So we might end up on that track of just getting hit by the Man City train. Then we play Everton, we play Sheffield United. I mean, we should be beating them. But then we play Brentford and Chelsea and Liverpool, Bournemouth and Newcastle all in a row. Those are 5 consecutive matches. Brentford away, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, away to Bournemouth, and then home to Newcastle United. Brentford give us a hell of a game at Old Trafford. Chelsea, Chelsea or Chelsea, of course. United got a draw with Liverpool. We got beat 3-0 at Old Trafford by Bournemouth, and Newcastle have beaten us twice already this season. So the omens are not positive for a big run in April. That is a shockingly bad April, and I'm really not looking forward to that one. But what I mean to say is we play all the big teams within the next couple of weeks. Ten Hag, if he's going to save his job, he's going to have to pull an absolute miracle out of the hat at some point. Guys, I got 13 likes on the stream. Can we get up to what? Can we try to get up to 20? Let's see if we can get 20 likes on the stream here. I've got some comments coming in as well from Rajat. Galatasaray want one of our players, don't know who. Rajat, Galatasaray want Christian Eriksen. Jarl says you don't have to worry about Conte. He's a new AC Milan manager. I could have swore that the new AC Milan manager was going to be Thiago Motta at one point. I thought that was almost agreed upon, but I guess, alas, we'll find out. If Conte is out of the picture, that's even better for me. Look, guys, I got 21 votes on that poll, but I've got 15 likes in the video. Let's see if we can get those likes up. Hit the sub button as well. Would be really appreciated. Dark Crow is down there. Good to see you as well. Thanks for joining in. And what have I got as well? Was there another comment in there? No, I don't think so. Don't think so. So to go back to the main kind of stories, Lisandro Martinez, he's going to be out for the next 8 weeks. Not ideal, but when we have a 10-day international break, that's going to eat into that, thankfully. It's probably going to be about 6 or 7 Premier League matches. So if we want to have a quick look at the fixtures, these are the likely fixtures Martinez will miss. Aston Villa, Luton Town, Fulham, then the FA Cup 5th round. That's 4 matches. That takes us to the end of February. Man City at the Etihad, not ideal. That's going to be 5. Then we got Everton That's going to be 6. I would say Sheffield United is going to be 7. And then we have the 2-week international break. And we don't play again until the 30th of March. So there's a good potential that Martinez will be back for that match, I would say. So that's going to be 7 Premier League matches. There might be another FA Cup tie in there. I'm not 100% sure on how that's going to work out. Man Utd, thanks for joining in as well. Good to see you. And yeah, guys, thanks very much for joining in. Look, obviously, it's an earlier start time today. Unfortunately, there was no live stream yesterday, and I can only apologize for that. And the reason I say that is because, of course, I missed missed the watch along. I was ill all weekend. We're back. I was back at work, so I was always going to make this stream anyway. And yeah, look, feeling good, feeling good. Some interesting things have happened across the weekend. I think one of them certainly is this Lisandro Martinez injury. I think another one's the cause for hope and the cause for genuine excitement about the club with some really good young players like Hoyland and Manu and Garnacho. You know, that kind of speaks for itself. But it's going to be an interesting ride in the next couple of weeks, guys. It's definitely going to be one that we weren't expecting. Um, I do have a little bit of a little bit of a tidbit here about Christian Eriksen's potential move to Galatasaray. He could apparently leave for a fee, but Galatasaray are unwilling to pay for that fee. So it looks like they kind of want him for free. It looks like they kind of want that deal to be done like that. It also looks like Manchester United want money for Christian Eriksen. So let's find out how that's going to play out. I can't see them spending that kind of money, but as we know, Turkish league clubs have spent a lot of players. Razak goes, what did Ten Hag tell me? Ten Hag has told us all, my friend, that we would be playing better football, picking up more results when we got the players back from injury, ignoring, of course, the fact that that is pretty logical if we're taking the step up from having Johnny Evans at centre back to Lisandro Martinez, from having Hoyland up front instead of Martial, putting Garnacho on the pitch instead of Anthony, playing players in the right positions that will suddenly start playing better. I think that's pretty common sense. I think he was basically telling the Sun that I think the exact words were to Neil Custis, I told you the truth and you didn't believe me. So look, that's a funny one. Look, I'm never going to complain about anyone having a go at the Sun. I'm never going to complain about that. Let me see, what have I got in these comments? Manlatada, Saudi sources told me Bruno 70 million bid in the summer. Not a bad one. Born is down there. Good to know you're okay. Thank you very much, Born. Yeah, look, I just wasn't feeling well, guys. Was pretty much just stuck in bed. Bath time, Johnny Evans has more Premier League titles than anyone else in that squad. True, he does, John. You cannot knock Johnny Evans for his trophy cabinet nor his professionalism. I mean, like, I love Johnny Evans, but it is it is what it is. Bart is in the comments as well. That might dispel the common belief from some people that Bart and Bath Time are actually the same person. Now we have seen them in the same room at the same time. Rajako's Johnny Evans' shout. I'm never gonna knock Johnny Evans too badly. I'm really not. I'm not. He's a sound guy. He is a sound guy on a top pro, and what a hero! What a hero! I've got Bart saying, should you not be blamed for Leach's injury as he was poor and porous? The poor and porous defence and midfield has led to him and others employing last-ditch tackles to prevent West Ham from scoring. I mean, look, every team's got last-ditch tackles. I think it's a bit of a freak injury. It kind of reminds me of when Kobe Manu had Rodrigo fall in him in the summer, and then he ended up Bart time. What have I got down below as well? Namakib down there. FD must be doing half days for this stream to be on this hour. No man, I'm done. Done for this time. Don't you worry, sir. Work from home days are always always brilliant, as you know. What have I got? Jeremy's down there. Good afternoon. Are any of the amazing 18s looking especially promising? Yeah, lots of them are. Lots and lots of top young players in that under 18s team. I think Ethan Williams is an interesting player. Seems to be scoring quite a few times. I think just Fitzgerald is looking really good as well in midfield. Obviously, look, you got the big talent at the moment. Shelis, he's coming back from injury. Amir Ibrahimagov is another one, very exciting. Eli Harrison is a very exciting goalkeeper as well, really high level. But that whole team's fantastic. They really are. and what is it? 14 wins from 14 matches, 46 goals scored, and 10 conceded. They're going to win that league if they haven't already. They're 17 points clear. Um, they're just a really good team. And look, it's an exciting time for this academy. There's a lot of top young players coming through. Really stuff to be exciting for. What have we got here as well? Rosako's not relegated, not won any Premier League title. Bart says Maguire was at Hull when they won the title. Evans was at West Brom. Neither Maguire nor Evans won the league with Leicester because Huth and Morgan. Yeah, that's true. And now McCabe is on there. Evans is the best centre back in the whole squad. No one listened to slander above. He had to remove the comment for the sanity of the stream. Oh, guys. But yeah, I think it was Jarl asking about some of these under 18s. Obviously, look, Harry Amas is another one to be excited about. I think Harry Amas is probably the reason why Alvaro Fernandez has been moved on. But that's maybe just my opinion. I guess we'll find out about that as well. But there's other talents on there. Fletcher brothers doing really good. Shea Lacey, as we know. So I'm very excited about the prospect of that team. I'm very excited to see what they do. And keep an eye on a lot of those players because they're going to be something else. I'm telling you guys, honestly. What have I got? Got a load of hearts coming through, which is good. Jarl says, all right, I did not follow football much during that time. Rashad, hope Rashford is Mbappe's replacement, and Bath time hopes Casemiro goes to centre back and Kobe is moved to CDM. I mean, I like Kobe. I think how you get the best out of Kobe is in a double pivot, and I think put someone in alongside him who can bring some more physicality to the game. Let Manu be more of a box to box kind of a hybrid type player. I think that's how you get the best out of him using the ball carrying he has. Obviously, you want him deeper than what he has been in the last couple of matches. I think the balance would be even better if Bruno was further up and Manu was slightly further back. I think that gives you more balance in that sense, and it just gives Manu the second phase kind of area that he does excel in. Look, he can do it in the third phase, but I think he's better in the second phase and into the first phase as well. He's a very good receiver off the ball. That's probably why he's excelled so much in that defensive midfield area. I don't know. I think it's an interesting one with Casemiro. I've seen him play centre back for us before and do good, but recently there has been a lot of hero ball from Casemiro as well. Bart says, can Amrabat and Manu function as a double pivot? I think Bath Time doesn't want to see any team that has Sofyan Amrabat in it as well. Bourne says we play much better with Cassette and Martinez in the last two. Maybe Onana can improve with better players around him. I think everyone improves with better players around him. I think we're just scarily reliant upon Lisandro Martinez playing out of the back. I think it's like one of the biggest indications of how bad the squad building at this football club has been that we only have one left-footed centre-back at our club, and that's Lisandro Martinez. We have one centre-back who is left-footed. That it's kind of it is kind of mind-boggling. And yes, Luke Shaw can play there, but Shaw's best position is at left-back. So you don't want to move your entire team about to try and configure it in that sense. I know Harry Maguire is good on his left foot. I know Johnny Evans is very capable on his left foot. But the only natural ball-playing centre-back at the club is Martinez. The only natural left-footed centre-back at the club is Martinez. I don't know how we find ourselves in these situations. I really don't. Jarl says there's at least 618s, and that's exciting. Their goalkeeper and academy keeper in goal. That could be a side. Yeah, I mean Harrison is looking very good. The only concern I think with Harrison is he's a little on the shorter side. And look, I think he's like maybe 5'11", 6 foot at best. Obviously, look, if he's got a spring on him, he's still very commanding of his area. Everything he does is still very good. So maybe that little bit of extra height doesn't really matter too much. It hasn't held him back so far. But it's an interesting one to watch how that's going to develop as well. Let me see, Rizalco's Neves or Polina with Manu will be okay. I wouldn't take Polina. I think Neves is a really good player. I think if I wanted to pick the ideal partner for Manu, maybe Amadou Onana could be one. I think you've also got a really good shot in Viper as a potential. Outside of that, I don't know. I mean, I've been seeing shots of I think it's Youssef Fofana from Monaco, which would kind of scream like a Paul Mitchell type signing if that did come off, but I'm not too sure. One to keep an eye out on for sure. Let me see, what have I got? Bart, can Ten Hag shave his beard and pass off as an older armor? Probably can do. Probably put in as good a shift. Bath Time says absolutely. If Shaw puts on, um, if Shaw puts on a bikini, him and Barbie can go with his skin. Oh dear. Gani says, I still think Altay Bayern deserves a run of game. He's not worse. The way Ten Hag is making him look, Onana is just too comfortable in that position. I think I would have liked to have seen more of a run for Bayern. I think we could have seen that, and if we didn't have the entire debacle about Andre Onana's participation in the African Cup of Nations, we probably got to see more of Bayern. I think it was unfortunate in that Newport game that he came into that match. It was his first game. It was a really poor United performance from a pretty weak team, all things considered. The midfield balance just wasn't right in that match, and we made a really hard work out of a League Two team, which was very frustrating to watch. But I think all things considered, he did okay. I don't think he could have done much with the first goal. The second goal was more of a Dallo fault anyway. Um, Let me see. Bart is on there. Buying from Premier League generally costs you a fortune. I think buying from abroad and rating the relegated teams is the option. Klopp bought Robertson from Hull. Yeah, look, it's a good point. There's not much value buying in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, but the issue that United have is we can't get value going abroad regardless. We went to Ajax for Anthony. We came back with Anthony for £80 million. We could have got Elise for like 40. Um, that's just one example. But no matter where we go, we manage to get ripped off. We always manage to pay a premium upon a premium. We always manage to pay the most amount of money possible for players. I mean, I remember one time we seen a story about Shakhtar Donetsk and one of their CEOs. They couldn't believe how much money we actually offered for Fred. They were laughing on the other end of the phone that we offered so much money for Fred. Um, Let me see. Bath time. Wait a minute, Jarl. Another one of the High King gang is Jarl, some kind of Lord in Skyrim. It's good to see some Skyrim representation in the comments anyway. Who we talking, like Jarl Balgriff or something? Bath time goes. I'm also delighted to announce after 6 months of negotiations with the NFL, I will be performing the halftime show at Super Bowl where I will demonstrate how to mod Skyrim. Nice one. That's exactly the kind of content we live for on the channel. Let me check some of the latest stuff here. I want to see if anything else has come out of this Christian Eriksen story. Obviously, it only really started to come about when we were live on air. It does look like Galatasaray are interested, but it also does look like we want money and they're not going to pay it. So I guess that's a stalemate for now. Is he going to go? I don't know. I mean, I like Ericsson, but I think it's hard to justify £150,000 a week for a squad player. I think that's very unsustainable at that point. Let me see. Was there something? There was just a Lisandro Martinez official update out for 8 weeks. It's not as bad as it could be. I think that's pretty much us anyway. We got some stories about Mo Salah in Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to believe them either. When I got back time, I've just bought a new GPU to play Skyrim with about 2,000 mods. Nice one. That's what you want, man. That is exactly the kind of purchases we should be making. Let me see as well. Jarl says Skyrim is yours since I've played the game. Who's looking at Ignacio? Who's looking at Ignacio? Rojako's Ignacio apparently wants to come to United. I like, I like Ignacio, but I think Jared Brantwaite's my option. And I think the reason why I want that is because you get different profiles. And it's kind of a toss up of what you want. Because with Ignacio, you get a similar type player to Lisandro Martinez. With Brantwaite, you get a player who is good in a lot of areas and excels where Martinez maybe his shortcomings. And it's about what you want, really. Do you want like for like replacements, or do you want someone who can offer something kind of a bit different? I think Brantwood is a really good option for us. I would absolutely be all over that signing if it's possible. I really would, and I think genuinely the way he defends the wide spaces, his physicality, his height, he's able to bring goals from set pieces. Very top rated defender as well. Very impressed with him all season, and I think he's the type of player we absolutely should be going with. Bad times, Stormcloaks did nothing wrong. Yarl says statement out for at least 8 weeks. Lugan is down there. Martinez out for 8 weeks. Yeah, it's not great. It's not what we wanted. But it's where we found ourselves. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish we had Martinez back. Believe me. But I guess this is just one of those unfortunates that can happen out there. It was a freak accident. It wasn't intentional. The good thing is, it looks it looks what we said, not in need of surgery, which is good. Um, and hopefully he's going to be able to make a full recovery pretty soon. And look, we were spelling it out. It looks like 7 matches he will miss. He should be back during the international break in the middle of March, so he could be back for the Brentford match on the 30th, and then all those big matches we have running into April time. Bart, United need 3 centre backs in the summer, replacing Overan, 1 more injury probably, and 1 more 3 centre mids, 1 striker, 2 right wingers, 1 goalkeeper, 1 manager, and then we're done. I think you forgot the partridge in a pear tree as well. But we're getting pretty close to what we need. Look, I said maybe about 2 or 3 months ago on a stream, I think I was pretty angry. I'm pretty sure we got beat by like Bournemouth or something, and I said out of the 25, 26 players we have, arguably we need 18 who are, or well, you could name 18 players who are not what we would say top class players, or with top class potential maybe. But yeah, look, absolutely, we could be doing that. But look, I think Jared Brandtwick would be my number 1 in the summer. I think that's the top quality player we got there, and I would be excited to see how he does. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Look, if you're disagreeing with me, let me know. If you think, hold on, Stefan, you're looking Jared Brandtwick, like, are you looking Brexit FC back at Manchester United? Are you looking for that there? Should we just go get Jim Tarkovsky as well? Should we get Lee Cattermole out of retirement? Let me know these things as well, guys. Rizekko's plays trash for the centre back. He's kind of tall and could probably win headers now and again. I wouldn't put Marcus Rashford at centre back. Honestly, I seen shouts one time to put Rashford at right back, and I thought, like, what am I following, or who am I listening to on Twitter that this is getting recommended to me on an algorithm? Bad Time says Brexit means Brexit. Bart says Kuthal is walking away scot-free, like Andy Carroll. It's just one of those, like, I think he probably knew what he was doing. But, I mean, like, Kuthal's what, like, 5'10" and about 85 kg. He's just like a he's just like a blocky guy landing right on your knee. It is gonna take you out, like, it is. What have I got in these comments as well? Born says, did you notice how Manu avoided celebrating with Anthony after scoring against Wolves? I'm sure he was careful, no contact, the spinning spirit. Maybe. I mean, maybe. What I got, Bart? The sad thing is Everton had the chance to balance the books and could have accepted a decent bid for Brandtwick and Onana, either of them, but now they're going to cost a fortune. I think Everton's financial difficulties, there's potential there to get those players on a decent enough price. Obviously, going to be a lot of interest from other clubs in the league. I think personally we could do worse than like going knocking looking for like Brandtwick or Onana from Everton, or if Nottingham Forest end up in trouble financially, looking at Morgan Gibbs White. I think those are potential good signings. I think those would really improve us. I think you're going to see Elisa leave Crystal Palace. I think that's a potential domestic signing you could make. I think you got to look abroad as well. I would like to see us cover more of South America, because we don't seem to buy players directly from there. Brighton seem to have that policy at the moment. It's working out really well for them. Maybe we can get in on that action, because there's a lot of top players coming out of Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, as always. So the fact that we're not in on that is kind of annoying. It's kind of frustrating, because we've seen so many times before players who are good coming out of those areas, coming out of those parts of the world, going for maybe £5-10 million, going to like a Benfica, going to a Brighton, going to like a Southampton, going to a Dortmund and Ajax, proven themselves there for 18 months, and then Manchester United comes in, and after we could have got them maybe 2 years before for about £5 million, we stuck a zero in the end and have to pay £50 million, have to pay more than that sometimes for these players. So I hope we avoid that kind of strategy in the future, and hopefully, like, the multi-club model we might see being brought in at United could help to do that. There might be less risk if Nice end up picking up some of those players. Potentially. I'm not too sure. It's an interesting one to think about. It's an interesting one that could have big ramifications on how we run and how we act as a football club, and it's going to be one definitely to keep an eye out on for sure. Born is saying, any news on Mason Mount? There was news on Mason Mount as well, Born. This actually came the other day. He's still working hard, according to Ten Hag, to get back. The injury was worse than anticipated, but he should be back in a couple of weeks, maybe. I'm sure everyone's going to be delighted to know that Victor Lindelof's very close to coming back. That's one we're going to enjoy. Rajat goes, now Rasmus is at 10 total goals and 2 assists. I don't know. Bart says, Barco is a gem of a left back, one of the youngest players to play in the first team for Boca Juniors. I've followed him for over a year and played him at Liverpool on FIFA. I mean, yeah, there's been stranger things happen in this world than players coming to the forefront or becoming household names because they've ended up being like really high potential and cheap on FIFA or Football Manager. Like these things can happen. Just to go back to what Borden was saying, Ten Hag says, I think Mason is still struggling from the injury he got in the second game of the season. He returned for a period and then he picked up a re-aggravation of that injury. Ten Hag told press reporters, it's not great, it's frustrating, and I feel really sorry for him. He had such high expectations for him. He could be a really good player for us. The important thing for him now is to get fit and go and be secure in the process, step by step. Don't force it, and then hopefully he can come back and stay fit. That's the most important thing. So I think maybe we've learned the lesson from the Lisandro Martinez debacle, where he ended up re-aggravating his injury because he wasn't fully recovered when we brought him back. Obviously, doesn't really matter too much because he's injured again now, but it is what it is. Jarl says it'll be very interesting to see if we get a new director of football this week. I think we're going to see it pretty soon. I would say, what are we on? The 5th of February now. I would say by the 20th, within 2 weeks, we'll probably have it named, I think. But the if the shareholder votes are done and the ratification internally is done for the INEOS takeover, then we're waiting on the Premier League go ahead. That can be done pretty soon. We've seen already that we can make moves in naming Omar Barada as CEO effective of May without INEOS being fully ratified. These are things that can be done before that even happens. So the latest reports that were coming out maybe a week or so ago were that we were down to the final 2. I think that was coming out from James Stucker and potentially coming out from David Ornstein as well, that we were very close to the end of that process. So I would expect that to come fairly soon. And I think certainly within 2 weeks it can be named. It depends who it is. If it's Dan Ashworth, he might end up not being able to do anything until May. I'm sure there would still be external conversations and stuff going about around our plan. If it's somebody else who can come in and be effective immediately, then yep, that's good as well. But it all depends on getting the right person. But says, I'm moving Britain to the one place the cap can't destroy the farming industry. Space. What am I missing here? We talking about farming? An interesting one. I don't know how we got here. Rajat goes, want to take one of Hoyland's bros to come here to United. I think one of his brothers is playing for Copenhagen, wasn't he? I think like he played against us in those Champions League matches. Might be worth going back and having a look. I don't know. I don't know. Look, guys, what are we on here? About 50 minutes. I think we're gonna leave the stream here. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks very much for joining in at the earlier time today. Should be back live tomorrow. I am working on a couple of videos as well, so they'll be up during the week as well. Looking forward to that, guys. If you are new, please hit that like button and subscribe as well. Really helps us out. And thanks so much for joining in, guys. And I'll catch everyone in the next one.